Why did DeepSeek make Nvidia lose $600 billion in valuation, and tech companies overall lost over $1 trillion worth in stock valuations? How did this happen, and how could it possibly affect you, your life, and your job? Stay tuned and let's find out. My name is Nicholas Fernholm and welcome to my channel. Here we check out everything regarding AI and try to do it with more optimistic and realistic view of the future. Now, DeepSeek. It was trained by only using $6 million worth of energy and compute, and it's apparently using only 10% of the cost for inference, and they managed to create this AI by using suboptimal Nvidia chips. This happens because China has a ban on importing the newest Nvidia chips from the US. They say that necessity is the mother of all innovation, and I think that this is a shining example of trying to push someone by removing their resources only makes them more resourceful. What China managed to do here is kind of like entering a gourmet cooking competition and coming second or third place by only using a microwave and a toaster oven. Or like creating a blockbuster movie by just using your smartphone and your friends as actors. When previously we thought that it would require billions of dollars worth of Nvidia chips, hundreds of hours of compute, and also mountains of data, apparently all you need is a budget that could maybe buy you a shed in central Stockholm, and also the chips from your Nintendo 69. Now, a quick side note. Where the hell is the European Union in all of this? It's like the US and China are like these super nerdy kids at a science fair, and they just submitted their super intelligent AI-powered robots. And the European Union is complaining to the teacher that their submissions was not made in Times New Roman font, which we agreed upon. There's some really funny memes out there that shows you kind of how the European Union is trying to manage the situation, and they're just completely and utterly failing. Check them out. I also have some videos which goes into depth about the European Union and the enormous regulations which are failing completely. So you could check those out later. Back to DeepSeek. How did they do this? Well, what they did was that they used the larger language models that are out there, ChatGPT, Llama, and a couple of others. And they used them as coaches for training DeepSeek's R1. You could liken this to trying to navigate through a maze. So for training ChatGPT had to go into this maze without any previous knowledge or strategy of how to navigate through the maze. So it had to do trial and error, try a bunch of different things that did not work. And eventually it started to figure out some strategies of how to navigate through the maze, right? You can always take left turns, for example, that will make sure that you don't do the same mistake twice, for example. Now, when ChatGPT becomes this kind of intelligence for navigating through this maze, what DeepSeek R1 did was that it used these larger language models as coaches for navigating through the maze. So all of a sudden, DeepSeek R1 did not have to do all of these costly mistakes when trying to get the right answer. Now, what does this lead to? Well, instead of requiring, as ChatGPT does, about 650 billion parameters to make calculations and inference, all of a sudden DeepSeek R1 only needs about 8 billion. This leads to it actually being able to be run on your local devices, on your computer, and eventually on your phone as well. No longer do you need these enormous data centers with Nvidia's newest chips being powered by nuclear power plants. Now, the backside of this is that DeepSeek R1, being trained in this type of way, will never become more intelligent than the coaches that is teaching it. That means that this AI model will always be a second tier model. The reason why Nvidia lost so much of its stock valuation is because people are speculating that due to this algorithmic success and new way of training models, you won't need tens of thousands of H100 chips anymore. You will maybe only need 10. If I were you, I would be extremely careful with making long-term predictions in this unpredictable environment. Now, if you were to force me to speculate and make a prediction, I would speculate that this is not as big of a deal for Nvidia's valuation as people set it out to be. Now, instead of that, what I think will happen is that we will just have more intelligent AI models out there, which will require more compute. So instead of 130 for $0.50, what we will see be the consequence of this is a 150 IQ model for $1 instead of 130. Now, this is a complete revolution, but not because of the reason that people are talking about. It has really nothing to do with the cost of compute. It has nothing to do with Nvidia chips. And it has nothing to do with the training data. The reason this is completely changing the landscape of AI is because DeepSeek is to AI what Spotify was to the music industry. And it happened in only 3 years, not 30. Spotify made the music industry lose its power. Where previously only a few labels and a few powerful people were able to decide who you listen to. Now, with streaming, someone with a microphone and some software and a bedroom could become a superstar. For instance, Billie Eilish. And for all of these revolutions that previously have happened in human history, they happen one at a time. But this time, this revolution is happening inside and during an AI revolution. It's a paradigm shift within a paradigm shift. And this has never happened in human history. If you've studied business and economics and history, you see that humanity goes through cycles of change. There are commodity cycles and business cycles and cycles of technology where we change, we consolidate, we grow, and then we change again, we consolidate, and we change and consolidate. The way that this revolution is turning out has never happened before. So all of your previous assumptions of how the world will look like based on history is completely wrong. We need to be very wary and careful where we invest our money, where we invest our time, and how we see the future of work, because it will not be the same because of this. Now, my tip to you is don't do the following 2 things. Number 1, do not stand still. That is the most dangerous thing you can do right now. And that is unfortunately exactly what the European Union is doing. Trying to build walls around the old way of doing things. And the second mistake that I see a lot of people doing is that they are looking into the history of how technological advancements have happened and try to extrapolate that into the future. This time, it is different. And it will not be the same. And DeepSeek shows us that we have never been here before. And we don't know how this change will propagate through society. So strap in and get ready, because we're in for a wild ride. And honestly, I think that we will see the future of humanity be extremely positively affected by this. But as everyone knows, the future is here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. And I think that that will be something that we will see be more relevant than ever before. This is a new channel, and your support is really appreciated. So if you would like, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel to see our next video coming up. And if you're curious about the European Union and the regulations that they're trying to enforce on AI, I have a video on that topic on my channel, so please go check that out as well. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I hope to see you at the next one. Bye.